As a sole trader, one of the many things we need to do is keep a record of our incomings and outgoings and to know if the business is making a profit. Now, I know there's loads of software out there that do that for a price, which includes lots of different features. But to be honest, if it's just you in the business and all you want is a very basic record, then you can't really go wrong with Google Sheets. And the good thing about it is it's free. So my other half is also a sole trader running his own gardening and exterior cleaning business, and he asked me to create a simple spreadsheet for him to use to record his own expenses, etc. So in this video I'm going to show you how to create the one I did for him. I must point out that I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper, and that this sheet is a very basic calculation for you to keep an eye on your profit. The list of expenses is what is relevant to a small service business based in Ireland, so there will be differences depending on your location and the type of business that you have. But the spreadsheet is customizable, so you can add or remove any information that's not relevant to you. So let's crack on and I'll show you how to make it. The first thing you need to do is make sure you're logged into your Google account and go to Google Sheets. So to do that, if you go to the 9 square grid for Google Apps in the top right corner, click on there and scroll down to Google Sheets and then click Start a new spreadsheet, go to blank. So you're adding a blank spreadsheet. So this opens up the blank spreadsheet for you to create your table on. Now the first thing you should do is decide how you want it to look. So in my example, I have the sales and expenses all on the same sheet, but you might prefer them on separate sheet tabs. Also, do you want a separate sheet tab for each month where it links into a summary sheet, or do you want it so that all the months are in the one sheet like I'll be doing for this one? So this is what I'm going to be creating. We're going to have 4 tables, so you have the sales, cost of sales, other expenses, and then drawings for your wage and pension, etc. And then a summary which links everything together and works out your profit. We'll then look at creating a chart so you can easily see at a glance your actual profit. So that's what we're going to be creating. Let's crack on. The first thing we need to do is give this file a name. At the moment it's just untitled spreadsheet. So for the purpose of this, I'll just call it profit sheet and press return so it saves that. So the first thing we want to do is start with the sales table. So I'm going to give it a heading. And then we just need the months going across the top. So if you just type in the first one and then go to the bottom right corner of this cell, and you can see the cursor changes from a hand to a little cross. If you click and drag across here, it will autofill with the months of the year. So that's a quick way of doing that, so you don't have to type it all out. And I'm going to format that so it's bold. And we also want to add in a total column as well. So if I just put total, and again we'll have that as bold. And then we want a total row as well for the month. And again put that as bold. And we'll just highlight this in a different colour, just so it stands out a bit more. So that's your basic table. So you would put in here, if you wanted to add more rows, then you can do. My other half just wanted 1 row for his sales so that he would basically input the total for the whole month into this cell, and that would be it. But if you have different clients or different jobs that you want to include on a separate line, then all you would need to do is highlight this row 4 here and insert a row below it. So you then have 2 rows. I'm just going to make these columns a little bit smaller. So if you highlight the columns, click and drag over all of these columns, and if you just go between 2 of the columns so that the cursor goes to like a double-headed arrow, click and drag them so it's a little bit smaller, and it will make all of them the same size. So that's a quick way of just resizing all of the columns at the same time. So now I want to make it look a bit more pleasing on the eye. So if you highlight the actual information in the table here, make sure everything is highlighted, and go to format and go to alternating colours, and then choose a colour that you like, and you can see it changing as you choose it. Make sure that the header is ticked because the header row is the months of the year, and we'll also tick footer, which is the total row at the bottom, and scroll down over here and click done, and then come off that. So that's your first table, your sales. Now we need to add in a formula. We want a formula going across here for each month. So we're adding in each month, and then we want a total here for the total of that particular sale or client or job or whatever you're putting in these rows here. So if we just put in a formula, so you just want equals sum, and then just highlight these 2 cells above it, and close the parentheses. So when you click back into the cell, you can see in the formula bar here, equals sum B4 to B5, which are these cells here. And then all you need to do is the bottom right corner of this cell, hover over it till your cursor changes to a cross, if you can see that. Click and then drag all the way across here. And that will put in the formula for the same. So if you click on this one and go to the top, and it says equals sum F4 to F5, so column F, cell 4 and 5. And then we do the same in the total column here. So again, equals sum, and we're going across this time, so from January on this row all the way across to December, and then close the bracket. So B4 to M4. And then again, you can just click and drag so that the second row is the same. And then it's just a matter of making sure that everything is formatted how you like it. So for example, I want all these months and the totals and everything, I want them all centered. So I'll highlight everything, go to the menu bar at the top here and go to alignment and click on the center. So they're all centered. I also want the total row here to be in bold. So again, highlight everything, put it in bold, and I want the total column here to be in bold as well. And I also want the currency to be in euros. So if you highlight where you're going to be putting in the figures and go up to the 1, 2, 3 button on the menu here, click on there. I'm just going to have it as currency. And you can see here it's down as euros already because that's my default currency. If you want to know how to set your default currency, then I'll put a link to another video that I've done showing you all the ins and outs of changing your currency in Google Sheets. I'll include a link to that at the end of the video and in the description below. But at the moment, I'm just going to change this to currency. And you can see it's automatically taken the euro with the to 2 decimal places, which is fine. Again, if you want to add more rows to this, then all you would need to do is highlight the first row and go down to insert one row below. Click on there. So then you have another row. Now you'll notice that the formula at the end here hasn't been taken down, so you have to make sure that you keep an eye on that if you add any more rows. So, and all you need to do is go to the one above it, click on the bottom right corner of that cell, click and drag, and the formula will automatically be copied down. And then just make sure that the formula in the total row on row 7 here incorporates all of the cells here. So you can see in the formula bar the sum is B4 to B6, which is B4 to B6. So it incorporates everything there. Okay, so once you're happy with that, we then do the same thing for the cost of sales table. So what I'm actually going to do is highlight all of this, press Ctrl C to copy, and then go down a couple of rows and Ctrl V to paste. And then it's just a matter of changing. So instead of sales, I want to say cost of sales. The months will be the same, and I only want one row for this. So I can actually remove this row, so delete that row, and I'll delete that row as well. So you only have the one row, and I actually want to change colour for the rows as well, just so it differentiates between the two. So what you would need to do is click anywhere within this table, go to Format, go to Alternating Colours, and just choose a different colour, and it will automatically change everything in that table. Again, make sure the header and footer are ticked, which they are, and when you're happy, just click done, and then just double check that the formula is okay. So that's saying equal B12, which is fine because it's just the one row. And make sure that the formula in the total column at the end is also okay, which it is, B12 to M12. So it's incorporating all of these. So they're the first two ones finished. And now we move on to the expenses table, which needs a bit more information in there. Now you can start from scratch, or you can copy and paste again this sales table and just amend it. So I'm just going to copy, Ctrl C, go down a few lines, press Ctrl V to paste. So I'm going to call this expenses. Again, the months of the year are there, that's fine. And it's just a matter of adding more rows to this. So if I just scroll down here. So all you would need to do is highlight these two rows, right click, and you can insert 2 more rows below. And then you can highlight the 4 rows, right click and insert 4 rows below, and just do that until you have enough rows there. So just insert 2 more rows below, and again just need to drag down this formula in the total column and column N. You just need to hover over the bottom right corner of the cell, click and drag it down, and that will automatically bring down the formula, so that's fine. And then just make sure that the formula in this total row here make sure that this incorporates all of these cells here. So you're going from B19 down to B29. So if you click into the formula here and go to the formula bar at the top here, you can see it says B19 to 29, so that's fine. So the expenses list, I'm just going to put down a list that is relevant to us in Ireland and is relevant to a service-based business. But again, it might not suit your business, so just put down anything that's actually relevant to you. So I'll just quickly crack on and start typing these out. So you can see I've quickly added those in and added a few more rows down to make sure they all fitted in as well. And if you want them to be listed alphabetically to make it a bit easier to find, then all you need to do is highlight these and go to data and sort range, and then sort range by column A, so A to Z, and click on there. And you can see they're now all alphabetical. You'll notice I have one that's called miscellaneous. What I tend to do myself is that if I put a figure in for any of the months here for miscellaneous, I will add a comment so that I know what it's actually for. So to quickly insert a comment, use the keyboard shortcut Control, Alt and M, and then put down what it's actually for. So for example, flowers for client, and click comment. And then when you put the figure in, hover over there and it will tell you that I've made this comment on at this time at this date, and it says flowers for client. You'll also notice that down at the bottom where you've got sheet 1 name here, you'll also notice it now has number 1 with a comment symbol. And when you hover over that, it will say where the comment is located. It's quite a handy feature, so you know that if you have like 10 different sheets going across the bottom here, you can see which ones have got comments, and then you can click on see all comments, and this will open up the window on the right hand side where it tells you what sheet, what cell, and what the comment actually is, who wrote it, and the date and the time that it was done. It's actually quite a handy feature. And then if you don't want the comment there, you want to remove it, all you need to do is click on the three buttons here, and you can edit it, you can delete it, or you can link to it. So I'm just going to delete that now, and just delete. So you can see that's now gone, and you can see at the sheet tab at the bottom that's now disappeared as well. So what I want to do now is change the colour, because we already have this blue colour here. And again, if you just click anywhere within the expenses table, go up to format, down to alternating colours, and then just choose a different colour for it. Make sure the header and the footer are ticked and click done. So I hope you're finding this useful so far. If you think this sheet will be useful to you in your own business, then I'll go through how to get your hands on your own copy at the end of this video. So moving on to the next table, which is the one that we've done for drawings. So basically any wages that you pay yourself, a pension, etc., that's what would be included in this. So I'm just going to quickly, again, just copy and paste this sales table. So Control C to copy. I'm going to scroll down and Control V to paste, and then call this drawings, and I'm going to have wage, and I'm going to have pension, and we'll remove this row. So right click on the row and delete row. Make sure the formula is okay, so that equals sum B43 to B44, which is these two cells here, and then make sure this sum is okay, B43 to M43, which is this row here from January to December, so that's all okay. And again, I just want to change the colour, so click anywhere within the table, format, alternating colours, and we'll just have a grey. Header and footer is ticked, and click done. Actually, I don't like that grey, it's too dark. So I'm just going to change that again, and we'll go to this one instead. It's a bit lighter. That's it, you can see it a bit better now. And they're the 4 basic tables that we're going to include. The next thing we want to do is have a summary. So we want something which basically brings down the totals from the sales and the expenses, including cost of sales. And then we want to show the profit. So I'll quickly show you how to do that. So I'm going to call this summary, and we want sales, we want expenses, we want profit, and we want profit percentage. And then we want the months of the year, and then we want a total column. So I'm just going to put all this in bold and put this in bold, and then I'm just going to highlight the cells here, and I'm just going to put in a quick border. So to do that, go up to the toolbar at the top, and there's one called borders here. Click on there, and there is one for all borders. So basically click on there and it will put a border around every single cell that you in the highlighted range. So the total will be equals sum, and it's from January to December, close bracket. So B49 to M49, and press return. And again with the expenses, so again you can click and drag the formula down. So this will be B50 to M50. And the profit, again, we can do the same. The profit percentage, we'll leave that blank for the moment. And we want to format the cells here. so that they are currency, the same as all the ones above. Don't highlight the profit percentage row because that's not going to be a currency, that's going to be a percentage. So again, go to the 1, 2, 3 icon at the top in the menu bar here, click on there, go down to currency. And then what happens now is we need to link sales in January, want to be the total sales that we have here for January. So it needs to be this cell here, this B7, which is January total. So what you need to do is click in the cell where we want it, type in equals to start the formula, scroll back up and go to January sales, which is B7. Press return and you can see it's brought down 0, which is the value. So now what we need to do is copy and paste this formula all the way across here. So again, you can click on the bottom right corner and just drag it across to December. So the sales will, if you go to the formula bar, equals C7 for February, March is D7, E7, F7, etc. And we do the same with expenses. Now expenses will be the cost of sales plus the other expenses. So if you go equals to put in the formula, scroll up till you get to the cost of sales for January and click on the total and then put in the plus symbol, and we want to add the other expenses as well, so go to the total for the other expenses for January and then press return. And again, you can click and drag this across to December. To work out the profit, it's your sales minus your expenses. So we put a formula in here, which is equals, and we go to the sales. Now you can see it's automatically put in B49 minus B50. It's worked out that I want to know what the profit is, which is the sales minus the expenses. So Google's being clever here and thought you want this formula, and if it's correct then you press the tab key and that will input that formula. So you can see here B49 minus B50, which is the sales minus the expenses, which is what we want. And again, click and drag all the way across to December and that will automatically bring in the formula. The profit percentage is basically the profit figure divided by the sales figure. So if you type in equals, this time it's telling me, it's thinking that I want the sum, but I don't. So I just want equals, click on the profit cell, which is B51, use the divide key, and I want to divide that by the sales figure. So then click on the sales figure here. So you can see up in the formula bar, B51 divided by B49. Now it's giving an error because there's no figures in the sales, it's a 0, so it's basically saying you can't divide by 0. What we need to do now is format this as a percentage. So if you click on the 1, 2, 3 button at the top here and go to percent, and that will now be formatted as a percentage. You can't see it because of the error, but it's all working fine. And then if you just click and drag all the way across, and this time you want to go to the actual total column as well, the total cell. And again, you can see everything's got an error because it's all zeros. But if you actually click on any of the cells, you can see the formula is here. So now it's just a matter of testing out all of these. So if we have a sales figure of 5,000, cost of sales, we'll put 500. And we'll put in a few expenses here. And you can see it's all totaling up here. For your expenses is 293, your total cost of sales is 500, and your total sales figure is 5,000. If you could then go down to, if you've paid yourself a wage of 1,000, and if you go down to the bottom summary, you can see here, it's brought down the sales, it's brought down the total expenses, which is the expenses plus your cost of sales. It's giving you a profit of 4,207, which works out at 84% profit. So you can see the formulas all work, and you have a total across here in column N. We'll just put those in bold. And if you just quickly do the same for February, so February if we say 7,000, these are just figures I'm pulling up out of the air. It's not representative of anything. Before anybody says, oh, you make lots of money. I don't. So again, you can see here it's worked it all out, and you're getting an cumulative figure at the end here of 12,000 sales, 1,900 expenses, profit of 10,000, 83% profit. So you can see they all work fine, and that's the basic sheet. If you want to see at a glance what your profit is looking like, then a good way of doing that would be to insert a chart so that you can just see really quickly whether the profit is up or down on last month, etc. So what you need to do that is, if you go down to the summary, click and highlight the summary table. We don't want to include the total, So it's just literally up until December. Go to insert and go down to chart. So this automatically pulls in a chart, and you can have a chart editor on the right hand side here. And you can see that the months of the year are down here. You've got sales, expenses and profit, etc. on the bottom. We don't want that, we want it swapped. So we want the months to be across the X axis. So if you scroll down and go to switch rows and columns, tick there. And now you can see the months are across the bottom, which is better. And you can see that it's actually showing everything that was in the table because I highlighted everything. I don't actually want to see the sales, the expenses and the profit percentage. I just want to see the profit. So to get rid of everything else, all you need to do is in this chart editor on the right hand side, scroll down till you get to one that says series here. Click on the three dots next to it, next to each one, and remove. And you can see it's now removed. So the expenses remove and the profit percentage remove. So now it's just showing me the profit, which is just for January and February. You can see that February is up on January. If you want to change the type of chart, then you just scroll to the top and go to chart type. And it gives you a few suggested ones, or you can choose any of your own. I quite like the column chart. I think it's easy to see. To customize it, if you click on customize here, and you can click on the background color, the border color. You can have it 3D if you want it 3D. You can give it a title, so the chart title can be profit, and it automatically appears here. You can choose your font, your color, your text color, etc. You can give the axes, horizontal and vertical axes, you can give them titles if you want to. You can have a legend if you want to have the legend there. You can have it at the top, the bottom, or you can have none. To be honest, it's self-explanatory, the chart, so we don't really need one. And again, the grid lines and everything, you can say whether or not you want the minor, major grid lines showing. And then once you're happy with it, you can just click on the cross. Now, to be honest, it looks a bit strange. This chart is just in the middle here. So if you want to, you can just click and drag it down at the bottom. Or another thing you could do is click into it, and you'll see the three dots on the right hand side here. Click into there, and you can actually, this is where you have your options to edit, delete. You can download it as a PDF or an image if you want to. You can publish it, you can copy it, you can move it to its own sheet, which is actually quite good. So I'm just going to show you that now. If you move to the own sheet, and you can see now it is on its own page, and you have the options across here to copy, edit, publish, download, delete, etc. And you can see the sheet tabs now. You have sheet 1 that contains all the information, and you now have one that's called chart 1, which is this chart. So we'll just remove some of these figures, take all these back out again. So now when you go back into your chart, it should now be flatlined as 0 because there's no information there. So it automatically updates as and when you put the information in, as you can see. And then if you hover over each bar, it will tell you the month and the actual profit. And that is the sheet that I've done for my other half. It is in its basic form, but it serves its purpose for a sole trader or a small business owner who doesn't need the all singing or dancing apps and features, etc. This does exactly what you want it to do. So I did mention during the video that I'm going to show you how to get your hands on your own copy of this so that you don't have to do all the work I've just showed you. So what you need to do, there is a link included in the description that will take you to this particular template. So once you click on the link, you'll be taken to this income and expenditure sheet. It's basically the same thing that we've just created in this video, but it's all 0, all the formulas are there. You have a chart sheet as well, and it's all there for you. And you'll notice it says view only mode, so you can't make any changes to this as it stands at the moment. So to be able to edit it, you need to make your own copy and save it in your own Google Drive. So to do this, make sure you're logged into your Google account first, then click on File and click Make a Copy. Give it a new name and then just choose the folder where you want to save it. And that's it. It's now available for you to change as you wish. I really hope you find that helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or if you plan on using this sheet, or if you have any problems with it, then by all means just let me know in the comments and I'll try and help you as much as I can. I've included a link here to a video where I show you how to create an invoice, a basic invoice in Google Sheets using their free template, and I've also included a link to the video where I show you more in depth the currency feature, how to set your own default currency, etc. Thanks so much for watching. If you're still watching by the end of here, thanks so much for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.